Up, up and away.
Frequent flyers for everyone. Isn't Alan Joyce a good bloke? The outgoing Qantas CEO announced today the flying kangaroo was giving away 1 billion frequent flyer points. Joyce said this generosity was about rewarding customers for sticking with Qantas during the pandemic, when, in his words, not everything went to plan.
Globally, coronavirus has had a devastating impact on the airline industry.
I'm not really sure what plan Joyce is referring to here, because Qantas got $2 billion from the federal government in COVID support, and then made record profits on inflated fares after the pandemic. Seems like a pretty f***ing good plan to me. Of course, it's schmucks like us who got boned with cancelled flights, lost luggage, and fares so eye-watering the ACCC is investigating price gouging.
Still, everybody likes a freebie.
Except that the most you can get is 5,000 points, which isn't enough for a flight to Gero.
I'll pass.
If that already isn't shit enough, you can only qualify for the free points if you've flown Qantas in the past year, which you probably haven't because the tickets are so f***ing expensive.
And are you starting to see a pattern forming here?
Qantas also announced a massive sale on Thursday, which I'm sure had nothing to do with distracting us from their profit announcement. That was a record pre-tax profit of $2.47 billion. And I'm sure it also was in no way designed to burnish the airline's image before Joyce is grilled at a Senate hearing on the cost of living crisis next week. Completely unrelated.
Qantas isn't the only one making money.
Yeah, have you heard of the Sound of Freedom?
For Homeland Security, you know we can't go off rescuing Honduran kids in Colombia.
Well, it hits Australian cinemas today after making more money at the US box office than Fast X, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. It hasn't had a huge marketing campaign like Barbie, and its lead actor is one Jim Caviezel. You know, the bloke who played JC in The Passion of the Christ. Maybe Caviezel really does have more pulling power than Tom Cruise, Vin Diesel and Harrison Ford?
Get the fuck out of my house.
But I reckon there's something else at play here.
Why is that?
Well, because Sound of Freedom is epically shit.
This job tears you to pieces.
I watched it this week and I'm talking borderline unwatchable. It's too long, dull as dishwater, and the script is more amateurish than the worst midday movie you've ever seen.
Ouch.
When God tells you what to do, you cannot hesitate.
But the reason you've heard of this movie is because it's become a lightning rod for conservatives in America. Alt-right loonies like QAnon have been frothing over it. Why? Well, the film is inspired by a guy named Tim Ballard.
Didn't he
Found an organisation that rescues people from human traffickers. Yep. Ballard quietly exited his own organisation amid an internal investigation before the film was released. We'll get to him a bit later. But it wasn't before he gained notoriety in conservative circles as an advisor appointed by the Trump administration. Caviezel plays Ballard in the film, and he goes down to Colombia and rescues dozens of kids from pedophiles. Because of the Ballard link, the movie has been championed by the likes of Donald Trump, Fox News and Jordan Peterson. So it's no huge surprise conservatives have flocked to cinemas in America to see it. Or have they? At the end of the film, Caviezel urges punters to pay it forward and use an app to buy more tickets so other people can go see it for free.
To spread the word, Angel Studios set up a pay it forward program where you can pay for someone else's ticket.
Now, some social media users have reported this has resulted in sold-out sessions that have been completely empty because no one has taken up the free ticks.
Seems like a waste.
Yeah, but it's also astroturfing, and that's a great way to artificially inflate box office numbers and make Sound of Freedom look a lot more successful than it might actually be.
If the ticket price is stopping you from attending, claim your free ticket.
Which plays into the hands of QAnon, who are treating the movie like their own personal propaganda reel. The film's depiction of a child trafficking conspiracy is right up their alley. After all, this is a group that believes celebs like Oprah and Ellen are part of such a conspiracy. Director Alejandro Monteverde says it's heartbreaking his film has been linked with QAnon.
And fair enough too.
Yeah, but that's what happens when your lead actor is a nutjob. Caviezel has been spouting QAnon conspiracy theories for the past couple of years. Ever heard of adrenochroming?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a QAnon theory that liberal elites are harvesting the adrenal glands from kids to stay young.
Okay, so I decided, oh shit, buddy, I gotta dig a little deeper.
It's unhinged. This is Caviezel explaining it to Steve Bannon.
Its molecular structure is C9H9NO3. It is, it's an elite drug that they've used for many years. It's 10 times more potent than Heroin.
who looks comparatively sane, which is saying something.
Okay, and you got to hear this story. Okay.
The other big issue with Sound of Freedom is that it exaggerates the prevalence and causes of child trafficking. But don't take my word for it. Ballard's former organisation, Operation Underground Railroad, admitted as much last month. The film peddles the QAnon idea that kids are being snatched by strangers, which does happen, but not nearly as often as kids being groomed by people they know. Maybe the film exaggerates child kidnapping because it's based on Ballard, a bloke who's accused of also exaggerating the issue as a fundraising tool. Add all this up, and you've got what is the weirdest movie release of the year. And I haven't even mentioned that it's being distributed in America by Mormons and in Australia by Mel Gibson.
Heard about me, you know, I got a bad reputation. I mean, sometimes I just go nuts like now.
I'm Ben O'Shea.
For more Up Late, click the subscribe button below.